Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in. This video is about free speech and how they're making small incremental moves to take your free speech away. I'm going to read you an article. It's off Zero Hedge. You're going to hear a microwave in the background. I got some of that Stouffer's macaroni cheese cooking in the microwave. It's my cheat meal. I got to have my mac and cheese. And a ribeye steak. I gotta have it once a week, so it should hope it doesn't affect the video sound quality. I want to start off with reading this article, and I'll talk a little bit about the creep, the additional words and the additional laws that are now being implemented. The additional, over time, the additional groups and factions that are now considered terrorist groups and hate groups. Dangerous Vague is the name of the article. U.S. News, new U.S. law blurs the line between hate speech and hate crime. It's written by Tyler Durden. Okay, here we go. 11 years ago, this essay argued against hate crimes. One argument read, people can eventually be accused of hate crimes when they use hateful speech. Hate crime laws are a seed that can sprout into new directions. So what they're saying is, you can say some hateful stuff to people. Or you can critique people like government. So hate crime laws are a seed that can sprout into new directions. This has now come to pass, I am sorry to say, the author says. This week, Congress passed SJ Resolution 49, and President Trump signed it, making it part of the U.S. legal code. The law rejects white nationalists, white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, and other hate groups. But why? Because of their ideas? Because of their expression of these ideas? No government that stands for freedom and free speech, whose charge is to protect rights, should be singling out specific groups by name and by law, declaring them as outlaws or threats because of their philosophical ideas. So let me reread that. I was interrupted by the phone. No government that stands for freedom and free speech, whose charge is to protect rights, should be singling out specific groups by name and by law, declaring them as outlaws or threats because of their philosophical ideas. If they have committed a crime, such as defamation, my apologies, of character or incitement to riot or riot itself, then charge them and then try them. But American government has no legitimate authority to single out some of its citizens in this way. This, furthermore, is an exceedingly bad precedent. Who's next? The resolution is too specific, but it is also dangerously vague. The term other hate groups, which I just read in the first paragraph, has no known definition. Suppose that this term is defined by a group like the Southern Poverty Law Center. The SPLC currently names 917 groups as hate groups. And there's a link that you can click on, and it'll show you everything that this group says is a hate group. Their criteria are not restricted to violent actions. They comprise speech. They say all hate groups have beliefs or practices that attack or malign the entire class of people, typically for their immutable characteristics. They are very clear about this. Hate group activities can include criminal acts, marches, rallies, speeches, meetings, or leafletting or publishing. Leafletting is like standing on a corner handing out leaflets, or maybe going up to doors, people's homes, and just leaving little paper leaflets on their doorsteps. So they are very clear about this. Hate group activities can include criminal acts, marches, rallies, speeches, meetings, leafletting, or publishing. But yet no one ever gets arrested for half the riots that are going on and whatnot. The congressional resolution is a declaration that certain kinds of groups, some named but many, many others, open to inclusion, are to be attacked by the U.S. government. The law urges the President and the President's Cabinet to use all available resources to address the threats posed by those groups. The term threats in the first paragraph is vague, dangerously vague. However, the very next paragraph singles out free speech actions when hundreds of torch-burning white nationalists, white supremacist Klansmen, and neo-Nazi chanted racist, anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant slogans. The same sentence joins this with violent actions. So you got violent speech and then you got violent actions, two different things. And violently engage with counter demonstrators on and around the grounds of the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. Let me stop there for real quick. I should have said this in the beginning. I do not condone racism, bigotry. I don't stand for anything that the Ku Klux Klan stands for, or any of these white supremacist groups stand for. It's just my belief. So just because I'm reading this, please don't take it out of context. But it is important to your rights. This law regards free speech as a threat, linking it to violence, painting them with one brush. This article is basically free speech versus free speech, but in the context of hate speech, hate crimes, hate actions, hate violence, basically. So there could be no justice that can stem from such completely sloppy, inclusive, amateurish legal treatment. The linkage is made clear in paragraph 7 when this language. Communities everywhere are concerned about the growing and open display of hate and violence being perpetrated by these groups. There is no distinction made here between the open display of hate and violence being perpetrated. As I predicted 11 years ago, in arguing against hate crime laws, hate speech is identified with hate crime. I'm going to end this reading this article. If you want, I'll post a link below and you can finish reading it. I'm 100% against hate crimes. Don't get me wrong. But hate speech, that's a slippery slope. See, our free speech, our protection of free speech isn't to protect friendly, loving speech. Oh, I love you. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, you're so good. No, it's to protect speech that you might find a little bit, off the beaten path. What's another word for it? I'll think of one. I'll think of a word. You know, free speech is to protect your rights to critique government, critique other people. It's free speech is a way of keeping other people in check. And if they take your free speech away, one word here, one word there, pretty soon you're not allowed to critique your own government. Or pretty soon, if there's an election, you're not allowed to bring up anything negative about any candidate, or you're an enemy of the state. I don't know. I just don't believe that we should go down this route of linking hate speech with hate crimes. Give me just a second, I'll be right back. So it was kind of bothering me while I was talking, that word. Free speech I wanted to say, is not to protect just friendly speech amongst each other. It's to protect outrageous and offensive speech. That is what it's for. We don't need to protect all lovey-dovey speech. There is no need for the First Amendment. It is to protect something that you might find offensive, but the others might not. That is what free speech is for, okay, folks? And actually, hate speech is protected speech. My fear when labeling certain speech as hate speech, first of all, the bill is very vague. It's vague just like everything else is vague, so they can alter it and manipulate it the way they want, when they want. The groups, very vague. Other hate groups. What other hate groups? Does that mean I'm a hate group because I'm talking about this in maybe 10 years from now? Or YouTubers or conservatives are hate groups? You've got to be very careful about free speech. Otherwise, you'll never be able to critique somebody when you see them doing wrong. That is why it's important to have free speech. Take care, folks. This is sad.